What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Kind of Funny Reacts. We're talking, Colin,
Yes.
about this Star Wars Battlefront that's been rumored forever.
I heard a thing or two about that game.
Did you?
Yeah.
Now, here's
Correct.
the thing. They announced it down at Star Wars Celebration down in that Anaheim area, that LA area. And you and I, we're not allowed down there anymore.
We can only go to Anaheim once a year and we go for VidCon.
That's all. That's the only time we'll ever go. So instead, everybody, we sent Chloe Dyktsra. Chloe Dyktsra, hello!
Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I just saw Battlefront.
Tell us all about it. What is it? What is it? It's got to be a top-down, real-time strategy game, I assume.
Yep, that's exactly what they're going for. Well, it was really good. I was really excited. I mean, even the booth itself was like a marvel. It was really fun. It was sort of what I expected, but a little bit better. Okay. Right? So, you guys remember the old footage from the old attempt at Battlefront 3, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a really, really upgraded, clean version of that. We kind of got to see a little bit of gameplay that was, it was pre-alpha PS4 gameplay, and it looked really good. It was a really clean HUD. We were running around on Endor. I think there were Ewoks, though I didn't see any. There was a Wilhelm scream. It was hilarious. And then Darth Vader showed up.
No shit, really?
Yeah. It was pretty damn cool. So I had a good time.
Did they talk about like what's happening, where it is in the universe? Like, I mean, it's Vader's. No spoilers, Colin.
Yeah.
Darth Vader dies in these Star Wars.
Oh, I heard about that.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want. Where is this all happening?
I believe it's basically everywhere. So it's kind of. I mean, it sounds like they basically made the game that everybody wanted and everyone has been asking for. All sorts of different battlefields. They didn't really go into which lands we're going to be on. I mean, of course we're going to be on Endor. Of course. Sure. I don't think. Oh yeah, they did mention Hoth. We're going to be on Hoth. They did say there is a new land that we are going to be on, which is Jakku, which is the new DLC. It's the DLC that will be coming out, I think December 8th, and if you pre-order it, it's December 1st. Thankfully, it's free, which I don't know if everybody was expecting that because it's from EA, but they did good. They did good. But it looks really good. They still have the same hero-villains mechanics from the old games, thankfully, and they basically just become bosses, player-driven bosses. So it looks like a good game.
Nice.
How many players at once can play the game? Did they go into that?
They didn't go into that too much, but they do have different modes. So there's like a 4-to-play Walker Assault mode. There's, you know what they do have also? They did not say anything about space battles. Like I didn't see any spaceship battles, but they did say there will be some badass dog fights with like X-Wings and TIE fighters,
sure.
sort of, but not in space.
Oh, so just
well, so more like maybe the Battle of Hoth when the snowspeeders are fighting.
Exactly.
Was there any? And I don't know. I don't know if you have any concerns about this, but I've been thinking a lot about DICE developing this game. DICE's last online game didn't work out very well.
Right.
Was there any concern, or is there any concern about their ability to deliver a game that's going to need to run online like this one will?
Well, yes, but luckily they have a pretty big. I feel like they've got a pretty good structure to build on. I mean, this game has been wanted for a long time. They know what people are going to want. I mean, it's cool that they're listening, and there's even. They were talking about having local co-op, so it's offline local co-op, so you can play with your friends. It seems like they're playing it safe, I think, but that might be the right thing to do.
That's fair, and I wonder, even though it's kind of a silly question with a game like this, because I always wanted more of a Shadow of the Empire kind of like single player experience again in that world.
Right.
Will there be any single player experience at all in the game, or is it basically only online or local?
It is a multiplayer game. That's what they're like. Well, it's a multiplayer game, but they do have the missions that it's the same kind of thing that they had in the older games. But basically, you can do solo or you can do co-op with your friend, which is what I was talking about. But you can do co-op, and basically the missions are similar to the missions that they had in the movies. Oh. So it's basically the same game in terms of how the whole thing plays out. It still looks like something that I would want to play, and I'm like campaign girl. I like story, but it still seems like it's something that would be worth messing around with.
No, I hear you. Obviously, Colin and I are the same way, and the last Battlefront I really got into, right, was the PSP one. And that was
I remember that. We all played that.
We all played it because just the PSP was the best system. We all understand it. But that was the thing, is that there's something about these games, getting in and getting to play as these different characters. Right? Did they talk about you or hint at getting to play as iconic characters? I know that before, like, it was a big deal before to play as Vader. Like, there were different missions like that. Are there anything like that?
Yeah, well, you can play as Vader. It's the whole same heroes, villains thing. You can play as Vader. They mentioned you can play as Boba Fett. It's the same. You rack up your kills, you rack up your points, and then eventually you might be able to spawn as one of the heroes of villains. And you are pretty much overpowered, and so the other team has to sort of work together to take you down.
Makes sense.
Now, I know that they're pretty dedicated to episodes 4, 5, and 6 in this particular Battlefront, or so it appears. God forbid, is there any prequel action in this game at all, or are they basically going to stick to the movies we actually all like?
Well, I did not see any droids. I didn't see, but, you know, I have no idea. I don't think they really mentioned it. They just, the lands and the battles that they mentioned were all, you know, some of the original films. And then they did mention the one that takes place, the Battle of Jakku, which takes place right after the battle on Endor and leads up to the next film. So that's really exciting.
Yeah. Is there anything, you mentioned Battle of Hoth, obviously from Empire, and then Endor from Jedi. As a Star Wars fan yourself, is there any battle or any location that you'd want to see in this game in particular? Because I was thinking about maybe something at Bespin or Cloud City I think would be pretty cool, but I was curious if you had anything that you would want to see in there.
Yeah, I would love to see something in Cloud City. Maybe the Jedi Temple. I don't know. There's a lot of different places I would really like to see.
Naboo.
I mean, to choose from. So, so you guys would want to see Cloud City. Which other ones would you want to see?
I don't know, something like really old school, like a New Hope-ish, like Yavin 4 or something would be pretty cool. I think it's funny because when you think about these particular games, Hoth and Endor are the two places you often think about. But I often wonder if they need to kind of get away from these locations and be kind of a little more expanded universe in what they're trying to do.
You think so, but I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? Everybody lost their shit at the Game Awards, right, when it was on Hoth and it was everything you expected.
And you see the AT-AT and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, I'd be interested. I'm glad that they're somehow connecting this to, Episode 7 in a way or whatever. And since the game's coming out, I think in November, right, that they're, it'll be pretty imminent once the game comes out.
Would you want to see them revisit the prequels, or are you guys like, oh, no, let's stay on Endor, Hoth, all of the old school places?
Greg said he'd want to see Naboo, but I think he was kidding.
Yeah, I really like a knowing Star Wars fan, so I want a whole mission about midichlorians. I want to go back. Can we just get really into the whole trade embargo? That's what I love to know more about.
The politics of Episode 1.
That's what it's all about.
I hope that they stay away from the prequels. No one likes the prequels, and a lot of people, some people do like the prequels.
I really want Jar to be an unlockable, because he really just wail on his face.
You and a lot of people, I think, would enjoy that very much. But, hopefully they just do what they did with all the books and just say the first 3 episodes never even happened. And just
someday we can only dream.
Yes, indeed. No, I'm excited. I'm a little skeptical of the game. DICE doesn't have a good track record right now.
Yeah.
And this game is going to get slammed way harder than Battlefield does in terms of server load.
Sure.
So that's going to be an issue. But and it seems like they have a hard and fast date. This game cannot be delayed.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. That's why I thought the game would not come out this year, but I was wrong.
But yeah, did they give a full date, or is it just November?
They did. It's November 17th.
Gotcha.
It was when the game comes out, and then the DLC comes out December 8th, but if you pre-order the game, you get it a week early.
Gotcha.
And is it PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, or is it also last gen?
They didn't mention. They didn't go into it. We saw it on PlayStation 4, so obviously it'll be out for PlayStation 4, but they didn't really go into that.
Cool. Is there anything we haven't asked you? Any burning tidbits of Battlefront you need to tell us about?
I don't know. Let me see. Oh, you know what? Actually, yeah. Let's talk about they talked about some of the really cool technology. Like the whole demo was like about authenticity. They're like, authenticity. Like, oh, you guys are going to get boners because we're so authentic. It's going to be great. So they basically, they showed this video of them going to, they went to Skywalker Ranch to go take the sound. They didn't really need to go to Skywalker Ranch to get the sound, but they got the original sound effects. They went to the archives, and they did this thing called photogrammetry, which is, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. they basically just took pictures of all of the original models and turned them into 3D models and then just put them in the game. Nice. So you're literally holding the same blaster and, all the storm. I mean, it looks really good. I mean, it looks pretty amazing because they were showing some of the models in the demo. And that was probably one of the most impressive parts of the game because I expected most of the other stuff. And then they're also using PBR, which isn't the beer. It's the really cool rendering system where everything just looks much more realistic. You can change the way that lighting hits the different textures and stuff. And they also brought up Dolby Atmos sound, which is like the 3D sound. Do you guys know Atmos?
No, I don't.
They can make you hear anything in any area of the room. So there's surround sound, which you can go, it's behind you, but they can make it sound closer to you or farther from you. And they demonstrated that, which is really cool. So awesome. You can do that. Oh, so they mentioned PC, because you can actually hear that on PC as well. So.
Yeah, so presumably this game will be PC, Xbox One, PS4, and then hopefully that's it. Did the game, was the graphical fidelity of the game good enough that it suggested that it was developed on next-gen consoles, or does it look like it could run maybe on PS3 or Xbox 360?
I don't think it's going to run on PS3. I think it's all next-gen. It's really beautiful, and the environment's super interactive. Like every time you run through a patch of plants, they all move in the right way, and it looks too good to end up on the old consoles.
Perfect. They're getting the hint, just like Rocksteady with Batman.
Yeah, Batman. Yeah. Cool. That sounds good. Again, I'm a little skeptical, but I am excited. Yeah.
Luckily they don't have a story that they can screw up because the stories already exist, and the graphics look good, and as long as the game plays well, then the worst thing that I think could happen is that it just is broken, or it doesn't change much from the last games. Sure. They're not taking any risks. That would be my only complaint so far.
So the only way it could go wrong is if it totally doesn't work, or it doesn't. It is too standard.
And both of those things are possible.
Both of those things are really legitimate threats.
Well, they certainly can't be called inauthentic, that's for sure.
Cool. Good point. They reminded you that, it sounded like every 2 minutes. So.
Yeah. Chloe, thank you so much for going and seeing it for us. If people want to follow you more, what do they do? Where do they go?
I'm twitter.com/skydart. All my stuff's on there. It's pretty easy. But thank you guys for sending me out there. That was awesome.
Nope, it was our pleasure.
Yeah, our pleasure. Thank you very much.
One day the legal restrictions and sanctions will be lifted, and we can come back to the Anaheim area.
Yeah, what did you do?
There's a Portillo's there, and I tend to get crazy.
That's true. We did go to Portillo's.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
That's just how I am. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kinda Funny Reacts. Thank you for watching. It's our pleasure to serve you.